Lena was taken from her home on a quiet morning when the sky was dull and colorless. The sun was hidden behind thick clouds, and the air felt heavy, as if the world itself was holding its breath. She stood at the edge of the landing field with a small bag in her hands, listening to the low hum of an arriving ship. The sound grew louder with every second, beating against her chest like a warning she could not escape. Her home was behind her now. The stone houses, the narrow paths, the soft lights that glowed at night, all of it felt very far away even though she could still see it. No one followed her. They had already said their goodbyes. There was nothing left to say. The debt had decided everything. It was an old debt older than Lena's memories. It began long before she was born, when her people agreed to trade rare minerals to an off-world company. The deal failed. Ships were lost. Money was demanded. Interest grew. Each year the number became larger, colder, and harder to understand. Her people tried to pay it back with work, with land, with resources. Nothing was enough. In the end, the elders chose the oldest solution they knew: marriage. Among her people, marriage could be used as payment. A binding union was considered equal to service, loyalty, and lifelong duty. It was legal across many systems. It was clean. It did not involve weapons or blood. That was why the elders accepted it so easily. Lena was chosen because she was young and unbound. She had no mate, no children, and no strong political value. She was, as one elder softly said, the least damaging loss. She remembered standing in the council hall while the decision was made. The room was wide and cold, filled with stone seats worn smooth by time. The elders spoke in calm voices. They spoke about survival, honor, and the future of their people. They did not speak about Lena's future at all. Her father stood beside her, silent. His hands were clenched, his shoulders heavy. When she looked at him, he could not meet her eyes. That hurt more than the words of the elders. Her mother cried later, away from the council. She held Lena and begged for forgiveness that could not change anything. "This will save us," she whispered again and again. "You will be safe. Humans respect law." Lena did not know if that was true. She had heard many stories about humans. Some came from traders. Others came from old broadcasts passed down through generations. Humans were said to be strong, loud, and difficult to control. They fought wars across the stars and survived disasters that destroyed other species. Some said humans were cruel. Others said they were cold. Very few said they were kind. Lena focused on the worst stories because fear felt honest. Now she stood waiting for the human ship to open its doors. Armed guards from her own world stood nearby, not to protect her but to make sure she did not run. Running would bring shame. Shame would bring punishment to her family. The ship landed with a deep vibration that shook the ground. Dust rose into the air. The ramp lowered slowly. Light spilled out from inside, white and sharp. Lena took one step forward. Then another. Her legs felt weak, but she forced herself to move. Each step away from her home felt like something tearing inside her chest. She did not cry. Crying would change nothing. At the base of the ramp, a figure waited. A human official, tall and dressed in a simple dark uniform. His face was unreadable. He held a tablet and glanced at her briefly, not with interest but with routine. He spoke her name carefully, using the correct sounds. That surprised her. She nodded, unable to speak. Her throat felt tight. The official explained the process in a flat voice. Identity confirmed. Contract transfer. Travel duration. Legal binding upon arrival. His words were translated into her language through a small device, smooth and emotionless. Lena listened, but the meaning slipped past her. All she could think about was the future waiting at the end of this journey. A human she had never met. A life she did not choose. She signed the contract with shaking fingers. The screen glowed softly as it accepted her mark. A small symbol appeared on her wrist, faint but permanent. The bond was active. The official nodded and stepped aside. "Proceed," he said. No one said goodbye. Inside the ship, the air felt different. Cooler. Cleaner. Empty of familiar smells. The walls were metal, smooth and cold to the touch. Lights followed her movement as if the ship itself was watching. She was guided to a small room. It was not cruel, but it was bare. A bed, a table, a chair, and a narrow window that showed only darkness beyond. The door closed with a quiet click. Lena sat on the bed and stared at her hands. They looked the same, yet everything had changed. She pressed her wrist against her chest, feeling the faint warmth of the contract mark. It felt heavier than stone. As the ship lifted off, she felt the pull in her body. Her stomach twisted. The vibration filled the room, steady and endless. She lay back and closed her eyes, but memories came instead of sleep. She remembered running through tall grass as a child. She remembered laughing with friends near the water pools. She remembered dreaming of travel, of seeing other stars by choice, not by force. Now she was leaving as payment. When the ship jumped into faster travel, the stars outside the window stretched into long white lines. Lena watched them blur together. It felt like time itself was breaking apart. Fear settled deep inside her. It was not sharp. It was slow and quiet, like water filling a space with no escape. She wondered what her life would be like on the human world. Would she be locked away? Ignored? Used? She did not know. All she knew was that she belonged to a contract now, not to herself. Lena turned onto her side and pulled her knees close. The ship moved steadily through space, uncaring. Somewhere far ahead, the human world waited. And with it, a future she could not yet imagine. Lena expected fear to return the moment she met the human. She waited for it as the ship slowed and the soft voice announced arrival. Her hands were cold, resting on her knees as she sat in the small room. Every story she had heard pushed against her thoughts. Humans were supposed to command, to take, to speak as if the universe belonged to them. She prepared herself to bow, to stay silent, to obey. The door opened without warning. A man stood there, not in armor, not surrounded by guards. He wore simple clothes, dark and clean, with no sharp marks of rank. He was taller than her, but not in a way that felt threatening. His hair was short and dark, his face calm and tired, like someone who had not slept enough. His eyes met hers and then he looked away, giving her space. "My name is Aaron," he said. His voice was steady. Not loud. Not cold. Just calm. Lena did not answer at first. She waited for an order to follow, a command to stand, something to confirm the fear she carried. It did not come. Aaron stepped aside instead of stepping closer. "You don't have to stand," he said. "This is your space." That confused her more than anger would have. She slowly rose anyway, her legs weak. She kept her eyes low, ready for correction. None came. "I know this situation is hard," Aaron continued. "I want to explain everything clearly. Nothing will be hidden." Hidden. That word caught her attention. He gestured toward the small table and sat down on one side, leaving the other empty. He waited. Only when she sat did he continue. He placed a tablet between them and turned it so she could see. "This is the contract," he said. "I know you already signed it. That does not mean you were fully informed." Lena's heart beat faster. Contracts were final. Everyone knew that. Why was he explaining something already decided? Aaron scrolled slowly, stopping at different sections. He explained each one in simple words. He did not rush. When she did not understand, he repeated himself without showing anger. "This agreement was created to repay a debt," he said. "It does not give me ownership over you. It does not give me control over your body, your thoughts, or your future." She lifted her head slightly, unsure she had heard correctly. "It creates a legal bond," he continued, "so your family is protected. That is all." Lena swallowed. "Marriage is not control?" she asked quietly. Aaron shook his head. "Not in the way you were taught. Not here." Her chest felt tight. "Then why do humans use it?" "For many reasons," he said. "Some good, some bad. This one was created by people who wanted to profit from tradition. That doesn't mean we have to follow it the same way." She did not understand. Her people followed contracts exactly. There was no room for interpretation. Aaron leaned back slightly. "There is something important you need to know," he said. "You have choices." The word felt strange. Choice was not something Lena associated with her situation. It was a word used for food, for clothing, not for fate. "Choice?" she repeated. "Yes," Aaron said. "You are not required to live with me. You are not required to serve me. You are not required to stay silent." Her thoughts tangled. "But the debt," she said. "The bond?" "The debt is between governments," he replied. "You are a person." No one had said that to her since this began. He looked at her carefully as if trying not to push too hard. "You can stay on the station. You can learn. You can work if you want to. You can leave the station with permission. You can speak to legal advisors. You can ask questions." Lena felt dizzy. Her fear did not disappear, but it shifted. This was not the danger she expected. This was something harder to face. "Why?" she asked. "Why are you doing this?" Aaron was quiet for a moment. "Because forcing someone into silence is wrong," he said. "And because I agreed to protect you, not own you." The room felt very still. Lena looked down at the mark on her wrist. It glowed softly. My people said humans only respect contracts, she said. We do, Aaron replied. That is why I'm telling you what it truly means. He stood slowly. I will not touch you without permission. I will not speak for you. If anyone on this station treats you as property, you tell me. Her eyes burned, but she did not cry. He paused at the door. You don't have to trust me, he added. Trust takes time. Then he left. Lena sat alone again, but the room felt different. The walls were the same. The bed was the same. Yet something inside her had shifted. For the first time since leaving home, fear loosened its grip. She did not know who Aaron truly was. She did not know if the human world was safe. But she knew one thing. She had been heard. And that changed everything. Lena's life on the human station began slowly, one quiet day at a time. At first, she stayed in her assigned room, watching the station through a small window. Ships arrived and left. Lights moved along wide metal paths. Everything felt too large, too open. On her world, space was shared and close. Here, space stretched in every direction like humans trusted it not to break them. Aaron visited each day, never without warning. He would knock, wait, and only enter when she said yes. Sometimes he brought food and explained what it was made of. Sometimes he only asked how she felt and listened to her answers, even when they were short and unsure. He never pushed her to speak more. After a few days, he asked if she wanted to see the station. Lena said yes, though fear twisted in her stomach. The station corridors were wide and bright. Humans walked in groups or alone. Some wore work clothes, others uniforms, others soft fabric that looked made for comfort. They talked loudly, laughed suddenly, and argued without fear. No one lowered their eyes when speaking. No one bowed. Lena stayed close to Aaron, but he did not guide her like a guard. He walked beside her, matching her pace. When she stopped, he stopped. When she looked around, he waited. She watched humans work. Engineers repaired walls and machines with calm focus. Doctors moved quickly, helping injured workers without asking where they came from. Traders spoke with many species, switching languages easily. Lena saw kindness that did not demand payment. She also saw anger. Two humans argued loudly near a transport gate. Their voices rose, hands moving sharply. Lena froze, expecting violence. Instead, the argument ended with sharp words and silence. The humans walked away in opposite directions, unharmed. Why didn't they fight? Lena asked. Because words were enough, Aaron said. That answer stayed with her. Each day, Lena noticed small things. Humans held doors open. They shared food. They complained openly about rules and leaders. No one punished them for speaking. Even Aaron questioned authority when he thought something was unfair. She learned that humans valued effort. It did not matter where someone came from if they worked honestly. That idea felt strange and heavy. On her world, birth decided everything. Aaron helped her register as a station resident, not property. Her name appeared on screens without labels. Just Lena. That alone made her chest ache. She began helping in a small garden area where humans grew plants for food and air. The work was simple. Water. Trim. Observe. Humans thanked her for her help. They did not order her. At night, Lena returned to her room tired but calm. She slept without shaking. Weeks passed. Her fear softened. The mark on her wrist remained, but it no longer burned. Aaron never spoke of the bond unless she asked. When she did, he answered honestly. One evening, Lena watched humans celebrate a small success. They laughed, shared stories, and invited her to sit with them. Someone handed her a warm drink. She hesitated, then accepted. For the first time since leaving home, Lena smiled without pain. Her tears stopped slowly, not all at once. They faded as hope grew, quiet and steady. She was still bound by a contract, but she was living as a person. Among humans, Lena began to believe that her future might be more than survival. Aaron did not begin his search with anger. He began it with questions. He had seen many contracts in his life, and something about Lena's debt did not feel right. The numbers were too large. The dates did not line up. The interest grew in ways that made no legal sense. At first, he thought it was just another cruel but accepted system. Then he looked closer. He worked late hours, sitting alone in quiet offices while the station slept. Screens filled with records from many systems. Old trade logs. Signed agreements. Missing data. Every time he traced the debt back, it changed shape like something trying to hide. That made him uneasy. Aaron spoke to legal workers on the station. He asked careful questions. He did not accuse. He listened. Some shrugged and said, "That's how it's always been." Others frowned and leaned closer to the data. A few became very quiet. One night he finally found the break. The original trade agreement had been closed long ago. The debt had been paid twice over. After that, new charges appeared without legal approval. Names of companies changed. Authority shifted hands. Each change added more cost. It was not an accident. It was design. The debt was false. Worse than that, it was illegal under interstellar law. Aaron felt a slow heat rise in his chest, not rage but resolve. This was not just about Lena anymore. This system had taken many lives, many futures, hiding behind tradition and fear. He reported his findings. At first, the response was silence. Systems were slow. Governments moved carefully. But Aaron did not stand alone. Other humans joined him. Lawyers, data workers, station leaders. They shared files, compared cases, and found patterns repeating across species. Lena watched from the edges. She did not understand everything, but she saw the change. Aaron looked tired but focused. Humans argued in meeting rooms, voices raised, hands moving fast. No one backed down. No one reached for weapons. They used records. They used law. They used truth. The case moved beyond the station. Other species were notified. Observers arrived. Some expected violence. None came. Humans presented data calmly, piece by piece. Each false charge exposed weakened the system further. The companies responsible tried to deny it. Then they tried to delay it. Then they tried to silence it. None of that worked. Too many eyes were watching now. Lena's people were contacted. Elders who once spoke of honor now spoke of shock. They had never questioned the debt. They had trusted the system because they were taught to fear it. Now that fear cracked. Broadcasts spread across space. Other bonded individuals stepped forward. Stories matched. Numbers matched. The lie was too large to hold together. The ruling came quietly. The debt was void. All contracts tied to it were erased. No ships burned. No worlds fell. The system collapsed under its own weight. Lena stood beside Aaron when the notice arrived. She read it 3 times before believing it. Her hands shook not with fear but release. She was free. Around them, the station continued its normal rhythm. Humans worked, laughed, argued. Life did not stop for victory. That surprised her. Aaron looked at her and nodded once. "It's over," he said. Lena felt tears rise, but they were not the same tears as before. They were quiet and light. Other species watched humanity carefully after that. Not with fear but curiosity. Humans had not conquered anything. They had simply refused to accept a lie. And that changed everything. Lena stood alone in her room when the message arrived. The screen lit up softly, showing words she had never expected to read. The contract was ended. The bond was dissolved. The mark on her wrist faded until it was nothing more than skin. No warning. No pain. Just gone. She stared at her arm for a long time, afraid it might return if she looked away. She was free. The word felt unreal. Freedom had always been something spoken about in stories, never something meant for her. Her first feeling was not joy but silence. A deep, quiet stillness settled inside her, like a storm that had finally passed. She sat down slowly, pressing her hands together to stop them from shaking. When Aaron came to see her later that day, he did not bring papers or instructions. He did not speak right away. He simply stood in the doorway and waited. Lena looked up at him and nodded. He stepped inside. "It's done," he said gently. "You owe nothing. To anyone." Lena searched his face for expectation. She found none. "What do you want from me?" she asked. Aaron looked surprised. "Nothing," he said. "You're free to leave. Or stay. Or go somewhere else. It's your decision." Her chest tightened. "You helped me. You fought the system. Don't you want something back?" He shook his head. "Doing the right thing doesn't create a debt." That answer stayed with her. In the days that followed, Lena felt strange walking the station. Every door opened the same way. Every human spoke to her the same way. Yet everything was different. No contract followed her. No future was decided for her. For the first time, every step was her own. Some humans congratulated her quietly. Others smiled and moved on. No one treated her like a symbol. She appreciated that more than praise. Aaron did not visit as often. He did not watch her choices. He did not guide her path. That was part of the freedom. Still, she found herself thinking about him. Not because of the past bond but because of the space he gave her. She contacted her family. Her mother cried openly when she saw Lena's face on the screen. Her father bowed his head, unable to speak for a long time. The elders sent formal apologies, filled with heavy words. Lena listened, but she did not feel anger. The system had shaped them all. You can come home, her mother said. Lena considered it. Home was safe, familiar. But it was also shaped by fear. She realized something then. Freedom was not just about leaving pain. It was about choosing growth. She thanked her family and told them she would think about it. That night, Lena walked through the station gardens. Soft lights reflected off green leaves. Humans passed by talking about small things. Their lives continued without fear of contracts or forced duty. She realized she wanted to understand that kind of life better. When she found Aaron, he was working quietly, reviewing reports. She waited until he noticed her. I've decided, she said. He turned toward her, listening. I want to stay, Lena said. Not because I have to. Because I want to. Aaron nodded slowly. Then you're welcome. She felt warmth spread through her chest. Not excitement. Not relief. Trust. Lena began planning her future. She enrolled in basic education programs. She learned human law, language, and history. She learned about mistakes humans had made and how they tried to fix them. No one hid the dark parts. That honesty mattered. She worked in the gardens again, then in cultural exchange programs. She spoke to other bonded individuals, helping them understand their rights. Humans listened to her ideas. Sometimes they disagreed. Sometimes they changed policies because of her words. She was not owned. She was not saved. She was respected. One evening, Lena stood at the viewing window and watched ships move through space. She thought about the girl who boarded a ship in fear, believing her life was over. That girl felt far away now. Aaron stood beside her, not close enough to touch, not far enough to feel distant. Just there. You did this, Lena said quietly. We did this, he corrected. She smiled. Humanity had not taken her heart. They had not demanded it. They had simply left space for it to choose. And in that space hope had grown.